You're listening to PartyNerdz Weekly.
PartyNerdz in the house. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, boy.
Listen, y'all, thank you so much for bearing with us this past couple weeks. I've been very busy. Like, how many movie premieres have we done, y'all, within the past 2 weeks?
Dude, I feel like we've done 4, I think, in like the last 2 weeks. Going back further to Fast X, I think it's like control. 5 in a month.
We shout out to Allied, because we actually saw Spiderverse. Now it would have been like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah. So look, we've been holding this in for a while, so we're gonna drop our thoughts. But before we get the show started, let's give a shout out to the evil producer himself, my homie, the co-owner of the PartyNerdz. Give it up for the evil Jorge.
What's up? Getting ready to talk about this.
Jorge, how was your visit to Disney World?
Well, traveling with a 1-year-old is not a but a trip. It was.
Are you more tired than when you left before?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, he loved it. Well, he ain't gonna remember shit. So that's why we were there basically for the pictures. Take the pictures, and he was there. Or I could have done it right here in the blue screen.
That's an expensive picture.
And post, hey, you were there,
Yeah, but you guys will remember. That's what matters. You guys will remember.
The tantrums and all that. Yes, I'll remember that.
and next to Jorge, we have our homie, the one person who we could talk about stuff that happened in the 60s because we just old like that. My man, give it up for Jerv. Hey, look, I put myself in that joke too.
What up, nerds? What up, nerds? What's good?
What's up, Jerv? I know this is your topic, talking about Spider-Man. You are a Spider-Man fan. Since we first met you, you've always been about Spider-Man.
Yep. Big Spider-Man fan. The funny thing is, I've always been a big Iron Man fan too before he became popular, and I was also a big Spot fan as a villain before he became popular in this movie. It's crazy.
Spot?
I used to collect
Why
Peter
you
Parker.
line?
Yeah, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man that's where he first appeared. The Spot did. So I used to collect that.
Wow.
Comics, I was a big fan.
And you can relate because you always had spots on your shirt, so you were like, I like that guy.
There you go.
So just dropping the bad jerk. Up next, we got our boy, our gamer, our partner in crime. Give it up for your boy Ed. What's up, Ed? How you feeling?
What
man?
up, guys? It's your boy Ed, and I just came from a Street Fighter 6 session. I'm getting them training sessions in because I need to prepare for the beatdowns I'm going to be giving to the PartyNerdz. You, Jorge, AJ, I know the squad is ready to go.
I'm gonna be practicing too, Edward.
Okay. Listen,
wait.
Let me
know. You know you're lying to yourself. Like you're lying to yourself. Devin had to learn the hard way. Everyone learns that I can't be beat with E-Honda.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know.
We'll see.
This new
and
E-Honda is a
also,
little
we have.
different. You'll see.
Listen, man, I adapt. I'm a chameleon. I adapt. And then we also have with us our other Florida native, who's a chef, a cook, a baker, and also is just very raw. We love her. Give it up for Cindy, guys, the Yummy Geek.
Hey, everyone.
Cindy.
What is up, Cindy? Love this. Now, have you ever gone to Comic-Con with that Spider-Man shirt on?
No. I've never been to Comic-Con, unfortunately.
Stop.
No.
What?
Never.
No conventions at all?
Well, of course, conventions, but not Comic-Con.
Okay, fair enough.
SuperCon, MegaCon, YasumiCon, but
Okay.
Comic-Con. I'm not that cool, guys. I'm not that cool.
You are cool. And of course, I'm going to have to lump them together because we love them. It's our James Ingram and Jeffrey Osborne. Give it up for Haas Diesel and James Bradman.
Light skin music.
Yo, can we get our own intros though? Like,
Go ahead, light skin, sing it.
I don't.
Oh my God, karaoke breaking
That
out.
doesn't make any sense. That's completely racist.
I'll be goddamn.
How are we doing this on? Oh no. We got to get this straight. Of all days to do this skit on, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Whoa. Shout out to Jared for Juneteenth because that's the day he got emancipated. So let's give a shout out to Jared for being an OG from the slavery.
We keep it real. We show love. We show love.
He helped
Even
build
the
the
light
Underground
skin.
Railroad, so it is what it is.
You know what?
We
I
should
knew.
put Sounds of
I paved
Blackness.
the way so y'all could be as light as y'all want to be.
Is that good content
y'all
right here?
We
I
will
should've
literally
known.
roast each other for hours, but let's get right to it. All right. So we're going to be talking about Across the Spiderverse. Across the Spiderverse, this is going to be a hard podcast because normally we disagree on a lot. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of disagreeing on this podcast because I think for the most part, everybody loved the movie. Like, am I wrong with that? Did anybody not really like the movie?
Reveal yourselves.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Reveal yourselves. If you are out there and you got some negative shit to say, you better step up front right now and get out of this damn feed.
It was fucking phenomenal.
Put it in the comments.
This should be a love fest.
Yes.
It
should be a love fest.
There should be no reason.
You know what? So Ed, to hate this movie, you're right, Cindy. Ed, so I know you were looking into the numbers. How did this movie do during the weekend, this opening weekend?
So as of right now, it came out June. Here we go. It came out May the 31st, so we were able to see it right before June hit. And as of right now, for 3 weeks in, we are looking at a almost $500 million worldwide box office pull.
Wow.
It did hit number one the weekend it released, but only that weekend. The following week was Transformers, and then the week after that was The Flash. But comparing it to some of the other movies, it's doing really well because the original movie Into the Spider-Verse from 2018 is only at 380 worldwide in its lifetime. So it's already 493 now. So imagine what else it can do as we start getting to the box office. But I don't know if we're going to be able to catch any of the other movies though, because looking at some of the other movies, Amazing Spider-Mans are at 7 and 750 respectively. So that's the next target you got to reach. Yeah. And then after that, you're looking at 850 with the original Sam Raimi trilogy. But you're not going to hit the MCU's billion, but that's the target. I'm hoping it hits at least the Raimi trilogy.
Yeah. To understand that this is an animated movie and
James,
the fact that it's making the fact that it's an animated movie and it's making this much money says a lot as to where the medium can go. We've talked about live action adaptations for comic book movies for so long that the only real adaptations that we saw aesthetically that looked like a comic book when it started with the DCEU, DC animated universe, doing the movie type comic book style that they were doing, and yet putting that on the big screen. We've had the same argument about anime. Why haven't they, when they usually do movie theater presentations, it does phenomenal.
Yeah.
So for something like this that possibly takes 5 years of blood, sweat, and tears, it's a home run.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
And I think that also the most amazing part about
you know what?
let me hold on. I got one more point to add to that.
Just like you said, James.
The amazing part about this particular movie is that it had so much expectation coming from the original movie too, with Into the Spider-Verse, because of the fact that Marvel dipping into animation isn't anything new, but this type of animation, especially, which is more like a free flowing, it's more of a kind of a looser animation style, especially when you think of how precise the animation, the comic book style was brought into the screen. So when you look at Across the Spider-Verse, you're like, it can't match that, can it? And it did in spades, like more than any other animated movie we've seen. And especially when you think of all the different animation styles you had to throw in, from the intro to the credits and all the different multiverses in between. Right. I think that's the whole different kind of achievement in its own right.
Yeah.
Because it takes it's very hard to do a multiversal type storyline in anything. So imagine that, to where they've proven fact. And note, the biggest cliffhanger was based on the multiverse. So that was like the end all to be all as to what was going on here. So the fact that you can fit that storyline to actually bring you a cliffhanger that makes fucking sense. Once again, home run. Love fest. Keep it going.
That cliffhanger was top notch too.
Let me.
Yeah, it was.
Jesus Christ, it was good.
Whew. I wasn't even expecting it either.
Jerv, let me ask you, what made this movie stand out to you? Because Jerv, what made this movie stand out to you? Because obviously behind you, you are someone who's always been a PartyNerdz advocate for Spider-Man from the beginning. So what made this movie stand out to you that you were like, I can dig it because it didn't let you down?
I mean, it's one of those movies where they did pretty much everything right. You know, the animation, number one, when you look at Spider-Punk, the way they did him, at one point he was in 2D, black and white. They were just switching him up the whole time.
Every time he moved, it was something different. So
yeah, and it fit the character. So, you know, Gwen's aesthetic is different from Miles going to, you know, the 42nd universe. You know, it's just, they had everything. And just the fact that you could put so many different Spider-Men in a movie and they're all distinct. They all look different, you know, and it's just, you gave life to all these characters. It's phenomenal what they did. And just that aspect alone with that. But then to take a character like the Spot, who is I guess, a joke villain to a lot of people. You know, in this movie, he started out as a joke villain, but you see how his powers are off the charts. He just had no control over them. So you figure all these villains who had these hokey powers, if they really had control of them, the damage they could do. Like this dude could destroy the multiverse if he wanted to. So it was just, like I said, just everything across the board was phenomenal. And then just to see the other Miles, and this dude is hard. You know, that was just like,
that motherfucker.
Hold on, we ain't there yet. But it was like from moment to moment, it went from lighthearted to comedic to just like, shit. Said like, oh shit, like, oh, we're about to get this serious right now. And it flowed. Like there wasn't any hard stops, there wasn't any awkward pauses in any of those situations either.
And then you had to pick up little things that you wouldn't have caught on to.
Cindy, let me ask you this.
Now, little things you wouldn't catch on to unless you rewatch it. Like if you go back to the first movie when Spider-Man meets Miles for the first time and both their spider senses go off.
Yep.
His color scheme was red and blue, then changed to the purple and green of the Prowler. Like that they did that in the first movie.
Yeah.
And it's all being paid off in this movie. So it's just so many things phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I don't know.
Cindy, let me ask you a question.
You didn't get to ask me a question.
I heard he was. Darnell's lagging just a little
my
bit. He's falling behind on the multiverse.
There's a delay
so
going on right here.
Yeah.
What hamster do you have running that wheel of that computer of yours?
I'm like, what the fuck was the question?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We gotta give a few seconds for his
He just got the joke.
Cindy, what did you think about?
I can't. Does anybody?
Everything's delayed. What did you think about the family aspect of the movie?
You mean Miles's family?
What did you think about the family, like how they represented Miles' parents?
I mean, honestly, I thought it was wonderful. It's very realistic. It's something that I feel like a lot of people can really relate to. And I feel like with every Spider-Man, and that includes the non-animated, it's always that question of whether or not, even if you have this great dynamic with your family, with your parents, can I reveal who I am? Should I reveal who I am? Is this going to make a difference? I mean, Gwen goes through the struggle, but then obviously she finds that when she reveals, like when her dad finds out, it turns out to be better in a way. I mean, not the way he found out, but later on, it's more of like it makes a difference. And I think she notices that. And I feel like that's sort of like the dynamic where Spider-Man kind of struggles of whether or not to reveal that to his family or not reveal that kind of secret to his family of like who he is and who, you know, that kind of thing. But I think the dynamic is great. And I think it's actually very realistic and very relatable.
And do you like how they really incorporate the ethnic culture of Miles being a mixed kid. You know, like you
Oh,
see,
yeah.
you know, his mom
Yeah.
who's straight up Boricua. You know, she's
Yes. It's two very different cultures. So obviously it's almost like that struggle of where
Did you guys
kind of fit in.
Right.
But it is, I mean, it's like I said, it's very realistic. It's the world that we live in now. So it's, you know what I mean? Like I think it's great. And I think it's part of his sort of personality of like having that two different cultures. I think that makes a huge difference in the type of I guess kid that he is,
Right.
and the type of Spider-Man that he's become as well.
Mm-hmm. And just to segue, James, I'm going to ask you this. Now that Miles Morales, like today's young kids, Miles Morales is probably more popular than Peter Parker, dare I say, just because these kids, like, you know, Jen Schwiegel, one of the partners, her daughter loves Miles. She really doesn't care about Peter Parker because that's what she's exposed to. So I guess my question to you is, now that the Spider-Verse has taken the whole Spider-Man concept and bringing it like a Latino, you know, like all of it, you know, Spider-Woman is a black girl, you know, you got to mix it. What do you think about including like the Spider-Verse, including all types of races right now? I mean, it's obviously a good thing, but do you think there's going to be backlash by just some ignorant people? The fact that their classic Peter Parker is now kind of taking a back seat to the newer generations?
I wouldn't necessarily think in my heart of hearts that the overconsumption of Spider-Man would detail the popularity of Peter Parker, because Peter is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as Marvel's concerned, that's their top. That's probably pretty much their top character. If you want to say top 3 characters in comic books all time, it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Was Whack Balls? Oh, see, get this guy out.
That's bullshit.
What'd
That's
he say?
bullshit.
I don't know who that is. Jorge, where'd you find
Get
that?
out!
Wait, so does this not?
Who is
the
that?
highlight right now?
No, does this not?
All right,
That's
so-
my point, though.
No.
He backs up my point. But like
But you
I
know
said,
what? It's not the
backs
first
up my
comment
this
I've
is your
read.
point.
It's not the
People
first
that are gonna
comment I've
be
read.
pissed about
No.
this.
Now, this is the thing. This is the thing. There are so many Peter Parker storylines for them.
So many.
Go ahead and watch all that shit to your heart's content.
You
This
got the
is the Miles
MCU.
Morales storyline. This is particularly for that. In the comic books, Miles isn't even that relevant. Peter is still number 1.
100%.
Will always be number 1. But this is a Miles Morales related storyline. It will always be that, because people had to get introduced to the character. The fact that we've got introduced to another 102 Spider-Men in the meanwhile pretty much proves the point that, yeah, we can introduce multifaceted characters within the same type of storyline with all these Spider-Men. I mean, shit, we've had 7-8 different live action Batmans. I don't see anybody else saying that, because yeah, it's all Bruce Wayne. We've had probably 5 Peter Parkers. We've had 1 Miles Morales. 1. Just 1. Nothing more, nothing less. So the fact that just his character has been done this great, perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
As should everybody else. I mean, shit, we got a mom in here that named her child after Miles.
I did.
Right, and that's the thing that I love about this movie. Just to
So
continue on with
Haas,
that
let
point.
me ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up?
No, what? Not to cut you off, Ed, but Haas,
Go ahead.
like out of all the Spider-Men, like, because we just saw a comment, people love Spider-Punk. Was he your favorite character in the movie? Who did your kids like? Because I know you saw the movie with your kids.
Okay, so my kids are really big on Miles Morales right now. So they just love Miles. So that's number 1. Spider-Punk. That motherfucker is awesome, bro.
That's the thing. You'll probably see
awesome.
more of him in the next movie. You'll
Yeah,
get more Hobie Brown in the next
awesome.
movie.
He's awesome. But even though we only got to see him at the end of the movie, because my one son, especially Carson, he's like really excited to see Spider-Ham. So like we only seen him at the end, but that's all he was talking about. Where's Spider-Ham? So that's one of his favorite characters. But no, I think, to be honest with you, just the amount of Spider-Man that I got to see, it was just amazing. Like there's so many different it's so many different I don't want to say genres, whatever the word is. It's so many different Spider-Man. Like you even got to see like Ben Reilly's Spider-Man looking all emotional and shit. Like that shit is crazy. To me, that's crazy. Cause the whole Spider-Stone and all that stuff, like those storylines are like close to my heart and shit. So to see like Ben Reilly in there being all emotional, don't know who he is or shit like that shit was dope to me. So every Spider-Man that was on the film, like just even if they were there for 2 seconds, they killed it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And no, I wasn't even going to touch. I have to. There's a big controversy about people saying now that Spider-Gwen is transsexual. And this is not based on anything but a poster she had in her room that says, something like protect trans kids. So, people are saying, well, I guess she's trans. And there's a more extreme perspective and group of people saying that they should make her trans. And if not, they're going to be very upset. What is your opinion? And I know we got to be very careful because we have no problem with anyone, but was it written this way? Like, why would the people put this in the movie? What is your thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, logic leap. That's all. Just 2 words. Logic leap.
Yeah.
It's literally this whole entire movie was about understanding that we are all from different cultures. Even if it's like, if you want to start as basic and as rudimentary as we're just different spider people living across the universe with all types of different personality traits or all types of different powers. Same with how we are in the real world. You saw the protect trans kids poster in Gwen's room. You saw the BLM button on Miles's backpack. Like it's an inclusive movie no matter what. So to try to force or fake a potential storyline like that almost does the message that this movie's trying to put out there, give it a disservice. Like you're now ruining the message of the movie in its own right by trying to force something that was never there in the first place.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree.
I agree with Ed.
1000%.
And it's almost coming into the say, like when you're reading comic books nowadays, there's comic books that are pretty much out there, like the Guardians of the Galaxy comic books that are pretty much out there now. You have Peter Quill, who's been living in space for his entire fucking life, and they depict him as being polyamorous. So it doesn't matter if a person's black, white, polka dot, green, have a tail, horn sticking out their head. Peter is fucking with that. And they alluded to that in the first movie. He always had like a girlfriend in the ship at all times, and it happened to be somebody different every time, and it was always some weird being, which we would detail as weird, but he lives out there, so that's normal. Right. So it's like this is going through, I guess, a multiversal story. It's expected. Cut, plain, simple.
Absolutely. You know what I thought was really cool in the movie? That like they gave you so many Easter eggs. Spider-Man, just like Batman, has so many renditions, variations. There were video games. They actually had Atari Spider-Man in the movie, which I thought was awesome. They actually also had I don't know if Jerv, you'll remember because you're up there with me. You remember Electric Company with Morgan Freeman? They always had a Spider-Man skit on there, and they had that Spider-Man. So I thought the movie was really just kind of cool. All the little Easter eggs they gave you. I mean, and ultimately, like you said earlier, James, it's just like this whole artistic. They're bringing art back because, like you said, the DC. Remember, we used to get the VHS DC movies like the Crisis on Infinite Earths. All those DC animated movies were great. When was the last time we actually had an animated movie that wasn't big budget Disney, Pixar, like really do good? Like, I can't. The only thing I can think of is Transformers from the 80s. But everything else is normally going to be the big Snow White or the big, Encanto. This is kind of breaking the mold. This is letting artists now shine. And I know, James, you're big on the indie artists. This is opening the door for a lot of stuff to happen.
Look, it happened when they did those short releases of like Dragon Ball Broly that came out in theaters, and it only came out for like 2 weeks, and it made so much money and then they snatched it from the theater so that they could release it through streaming, basically like through Crunchyroll and everything like that. So like it only adds to the effect that animated movies are the wave. They've always been the wave. When DC was doing their animated movies, and they basically had a continuous storyline going from Flashpoint Paradox all the way to Justice League Dark, Doomsday War. That was the most amazing shit that they ever did. You know, and DC has not even been able to duplicate that
in live action.
Whatsoever. And they recently just had a movie that basically they're trying to depict as Flashpoint, and it fucking failed. So it further proves the point. There's certain things that you can do in live action.
You know what?
And there's certain things that you can do in animation.
Yeah.
You know, there's just certain things that you can do. That you can't do as opposed to live action. And animation gets it. With Spider-Verse, you think they could have did that portion where Miguel O'Hara basically showcasing showing Miles the entire multiverse, the multiversal battle that between all those Spider-Man. You think that could have been done in live action?
No.
That shit would have looked whack.
Yeah.
Like super whack. So the fact that that basically this was done in an animation form, it just solidifies that this is the only way it could have been done.
Yep.
Yeah, to tell that story. No, James is right. To tell that story. Matter of fact, with the last two movies, to tell this whole trilogy, because it's turned into a trilogy. To tell this whole trilogy, animation has to be the way to go.
Of course.
Because if you're gonna reach that many Spider-Men or Spider people, if it was live action, you're talking about getting all kinds of different actors, and you got actors got to get shine and stuff like that. Like these are animated characters, so they can just jump on. They could say one thing and be out, or they could be part of the chase, not say a word. It's so much you could do with animation. And number two with the animation, like you get that sequence, that chase sequence.
Yeah.
It was virtually, now what I heard it took like 4 years for that to do. So to get that all coordinated in 4 years, like to try to do that in live action and just puts like CGI characters and stuff like that. Like I know we all seen Endgame and they were able to like get all the characters on the battlefield and use CGI and stuff like that, but they wouldn't be able to pull off a chase like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Right. It's just impossible. So we got to appreciate, like, to me, like you gotta appreciate what we get from the live action because it's using like actual people and stuff like that. But when you get a movie animated that is this good, like it just opens up the doors for now. Maybe DC's sitting there licking their chops like, Dad, we gotta do a Batman movie like this. If it's Spider-Man of like, you never know. So this is what it's opening the doors for a completely new genre of animated films.
Yeah, because if you think of the styles that are in this movie, there's 2D animation, there's 3D animation, there's CGI, there was video game characters in this, there was live action people. Donald Glover was in this motherfucking movie.
In the movie.
Which was one of my favorite cameos of all time.
It was like 6 different
it was
styles
like
of
Who Framed
animation
Roger Rabbit
all over this joint.
Yeah.
You can't do that in any other movie. Just saying.
And the thing is, they did such a good job at like highlighting everybody that even if they were on screen for 2 seconds, they were still memorable. So that was the thing, is that 2 seconds of this Spider-Man, but I still remember that Spider-Man. I still remember this one. So yeah, I don't know how that would work in a live action.
Like Spider-Cat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
No, Spider-Cat was great.
That was great.
Web Slinger was great because I was just like, oh, there's a Western Spider-Man? When the hell did that happen? And just the funny in-joke of the horse wearing a mask too. Always funny. The Insomniac, the video game Spider-Man was in there. Also, for anybody who knows or doesn't know, the game that they're during these Miles sequence where he was talking to his roommate in the dorm room, that game footage that he was playing was Spider-Man 2, the new one that's coming out this year, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And I just saw all that live footage from Summer Games Fest a week ago. It looked amazing. And it was brilliant because they're both Sony properties. Sony owns the Spider-Man license and PlayStation has the exclusive rights to the game.
But we also know that Sony does not always get it right because that Craven fucking trailer just came out today and it was garbage.
I do not like it. It sucks. I'm sorry. We talked about this earlier now.
Listen, I saw Morbius today. I saw Morbius today, and what a fucking
you did watch it? You watched it? You did watch it?
You watched it on your own accord?
I told you I was gonna watch it. What
I didn't know you was gonna watch it today. So how did it work out? How did it work out for you?
Fucking disaster, waste of time movie, man.
You gotta get those hours back, Cindy.
I want Jerv to speak on that goddamn.
I told you, blame Haas.
So wait, I gotta say this.
Jake, remember that Haas was the one that told you? Yes, you did. And
you
what
have
happened, man?
Sometimes watching a disaster is all worth it. Like you have to see how bad.
The post-credit scenes were probably the only things I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's it. That's it. The whole movie, I was like,
that
what?
Almost doesn't even make sense though.
Horrible.
The post-credit scene. And I'm tell
Lion
you
Man.
Go ahead, spoil it. I want to hear this.
To me, there's no reason why the Vulture is in that dimension or that universe. Like it just makes no sense from the rules that we were taught in Spider-Man No Way Home.
But you see, that's how bad the movie was. That the only exciting part was seeing Michael Keaton on screen.
You're very right.
For 2 seconds, and that's it.
Sony does not always get it right.
What? And Tyrese was in the movie too.
Tyrese.
Did he stumble off the set of Fast X? What the hell?
Sorry, guys, but
wait, Jerv, what did you think of that?
He's gonna be
that's it.
scared
Yeah,
and
that's game
frustrated
over.
as always.
Jerv, what'd you think of that damn Craven trailer?
I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again.
Come on, you don't have a first gut impression?
No,
nah, because I didn't get a chance to like clearly watch it.
He literally bit off a nose.
Yeah, see, I didn't get a chance to clearly watch it. I was on my phone just trying to get do some other things. I was like, oh, what's this? And so I gotta watch it again.
All right, so Craven has an American accent. He gets his powers because a drop of lion blood flies into a cut of his.
Whack.
He's getting
but then his dad is
powers
Russian,
from a
right?
lion, yo.
So his dad is Russian, but he's American.
Straight up, yeah. That's
Okay.
how obnoxious this shit is.
Whack. This shit is whack, son. This shit's going to be a 4. I promise you.
Guys, let me ask. Jerv, let me ask you this. How would you rank Across the Spiderverse to all the other Spider-Man movies? Now, we did a post on this. Most of the people in the post, they actually said this was the best. No Way Home got a lot of love, too. A lot of people love it. And Haas, I know you love No Way Home. So, what's this the best out of all the Spider-Man movie, would you say?
Look, this is the problem with movies. And when you've seen a really good movie or a great movie and it's been a while, we all forget, man, that time does damage to movies. Right. Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire is a great fucking film. When that movie dropped, everybody was losing their minds. We were hype on that shit because there was nothing better than that movie. Right. That movie, now it may not hold up as time goes on, but you got to go back to when you saw that movie. How did you feel when you saw that movie? I was more hyped about that than I was about this movie, Across the Spiderverse. But this movie was incredible. Don't get me wrong, but that Spider-Man, that was our first time really seeing Spider-Man in the big screen like that and just in all his glory, in his nerdiness. All the Tobey captured Spider-Man for all of us. So that movie's great, man. So for anybody to disrespect that movie, you just forget. And they do it with Avengers. The first Avengers was a great movie. When that shit dropped, to see all of those characters come together for
it was like
time. Yeah, that was it. I saw that movie 5 times easy. Like it was that great. But you compare it to the ones after. Yeah, it's everything afterwards is always going to be better because everything gets better from the actors, technology, directors, blah 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 blah. But this movie, yes, it's definitely top 3. But what they did with this movie was incredible. Yeah, absolutely. This movie's definitely top 3, without a doubt.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Number one, it's to me.
Cindy, would you agree with that?
Oh, okay.
That Across is number 1. I'm biased for Into the Spider-Verse, so that to me is number 1, and it will still be number 1 just because I had never seen anything like that before in my life, and it was different, and it really. Not only that, but the soundtrack was fucking phenomenal. Not to say that Across didn't have a great soundtrack, but Into the Spider-Verse for me had a better soundtrack. So for me, and I've rewatched, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I have a baby, so I have a lot of time where I'm just kind of sitting there feeding him. I've rewatched all the Spider-Man, including Amazing, everything, No Way Home. And I still think, I would say Into the Spider-Verse is number 1, Across number 2, and then the rest kind of fall right behind that. That's me, though. That's just me.
I'm sorry, Haas. Go back to what you were saying before.
Oh no, I know your delay is crazy. So look, what I was going to say is, it's all right for me personally. I don't like comparing the live action movies to the animation movies. All right, I just don't, because for what we just talked about, there's significant differences in what you can do with each movie. So I enjoy like have we even lost Darnell? Jeez.
Nah, he's coming back. He's coming back. Go ahead.
Back. All right, so look.
You clowned his delay. See what you did?
Oh, my bad, D. So look. So you got like with the animated films, especially Across the Spiderverse, like, man, like I can't find anything wrong with Across the Spiderverse. Like I really don't. Like I can find as much. I love No Way Home. Like as my favorite Spider-Man live action film. But I can find flaws in it.
Excuse me?
I can find flaws. I can't find any flaws in Across the Spider-Verse. So because of that, because I give them both 100 out of 100. But if I had to tip the scales, like, yo, which movie was closer to perfection? Unfortunately, and this goes against my own bias, I have to say, because there's like no flaws in Across the Spider-Verse, like that's a better film. But I might be emotionally more tied to No Way Home, if that makes sense to you.
Did you just indistinctively say that No Way Home was just all right?
No, No Way Home to me is the best live action, without questions, the best live action Spider-Man. But Across the Spider-Verse, there's no flaw. Like I can't say anything, not a single thing.
You can't
bad about it. I can come up with a few flaws in No Way Home and just ignore them. I have nothing to ignore in Across the Spider-Verse.
So you ignore Electro and Tim's.
Yeah, of course. But shit.
Come on, man. James, we're not gonna do this tonight.
I agree with James.
No, we can absolutely do
That
this.
character is horrible.
I like the fact that he's not
James,
blue.
we're not gonna do this.
The motherfucker ain't blue. I love that shit.
This dude loved that movie, James. We're not gonna do this tonight.
I'm with James on Electro. I'm sorry, but that character.
We're not shitting on No Way Home tonight. What I'm saying is that's the best live action Spider-Man movie, but Across the Spider-Verse has no flaws.
Are we going to not talk about the villain of this movie, Gwen Stacy? Are we not going to talk about this bitch? We going to
villain? And
whoa, conspiracy theory?
Gwen Stacy's the villain all along? He's right in a way. Jeremy, you got to say it, because I think
Gwen came up into this motherfucker's crib and then first of all, touching all of his shit. Bitch, don't touch my shit. Don't just walk in my crib touching my shit. That's number one. And number two, my action figure that I bought, that I've been holding on to, that I'm going to wait 20 years to sell down the line. You're just going to open it up and shit? That shit ain't new and mint no more. Like, come on, girl, stop touching my shit. And then, like, come on now. This girl, the only reason it was a canon event was because of Gwen. Because Gwen was never supposed to go see Miles. You know what I mean?
Word up.
Spider-Man 2099, don't fuck with that dude. Don't go see him. She went and saw him. That's why Miles jumped through there and went and made a canon event. Miles is minding his own business. This bitch came and fucked this whole world up. You know what I mean? Like, she was destroying his shit. And she smashed Hobie. And she know Miles like her like that. And she smashed Hobie too. I was wondering when you were going to get that. My boy Dirty.
I was thinking that the whole time, like, yo, hold up.
Yes, she smashed them. And this Gwen was going on and on. Gwen is destructive in this movie. Every move she made is destructive in this damn movie. And she is fucking Miles shit up. And then at the end, she want to try to get all the crew together.
Albert said
rescue his ass? Nah. Gwen is an evil ass
said she
chick.
put her shoes on his bed too.
That's a low blow. She did put her shoes on his bed.
Yo.
Now, yeah, that you can get out my multiverse playing like that.
Yo,
they
it's deadly, man.
Jorge, you got a new post. Conspiracy. Gwen Stacy was the villain all along.
It's
Let's
not
go.
even a
No,
conspiracy.
that's the true
It's
villain
not
of
even a
this
conspiracy.
movie.
You know what?
He
Guess
was
what?
knocking them boots.
We are going to do
through
we're gonna
every
do a live
Gwen
multiverse.
is destructive.
Yeah, but
So
now
let
you
me
know
ask you
what?
guys,
Listen,
what
and
did y'all think
Glenn
about
talked about it too, like her dad.
That initial comment, I would have thought to say, okay, Jervis losing his mind, but now he's making fucking sense.
He's making plenty of sense.
He's making
Listen,
a lot of
you
sense.
got to look at all the breadcrumbs she left. She left the trail. You just got to watch the movie. You know what I mean? We got to watch this movie. Since Gwen came on that screen, she's been self-destructive for this dude. Yes.
Right.
And now, and what? She's happy because her dad ain't going to die. You know what I mean? Look, she was still trying to have him locked up and all that shit. When everybody was out, she's chasing him. She didn't even try to help him. And then after the fact, now you want to come to his rescue? Nah, man. Gwen, we ain't messing with you. You gotta go. Go. Get to stepping. Nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's the
which now proves.
All right, guys, I know I'm real
point.
delayed here, so I'm going to ask this while I can.
Oh,
What did y'all think about the cliffhanger, the whole like to be continued thing? Do you guys think? Now, I mean, because I think they did a great job with it because now people are looking forward to Miles versus Miles or Miles versus Prowler. No, it's still Miles versus Miles, but as a different superhero. Like, what do y'all think about that? What y'all think about the cliffhanger?
I love that. Like, I think because I don't have a lot of access to the Spider-Man lore, I think that was one of the coolest twists to see that Miles was transported back to Earth 42 because he had the spider blood in him, but he was never supposed to be there because there was supposed to be a Peter there. That's another canon event. And to see what turned out because of that was amazing. And I think that, and also, hello. And just the fact that it came, for me, much like, not necessarily like Fast X, but like, it was its own unique plot twist. And I was so immersed, ready to see what was going to happen with this face-off. And then the movie just ends. And I was like, no, please give me another 2 hours. I didn't want to leave the theater. Just drop part 3 right now.
Yeah.
And just let me sit there in the theater forever.
They also showed Gwen was able to get all the characters. I mean, obviously the 2 new Spider-Man from, Punk Spider-Man.
She had to get her
was able to
boyfriend.
get the characters from Across the Spiderverse. So then you finally saw, Spider Pig and, all these other characters. I thought that was a great way to end it as well. It's like, oh shit, now it's going to be them against everyone.
It's 2 Spider teams. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it was dope. That was definitely like.
That's one of the best cliffhangers I've seen in a comic movie.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah,
just in any film. In any film. Oh, look at this.
Miguel.
In any film.
Yeah, it was a good fake out. Good fake
all
out.
time.
Great fake out.
It's like, and it definitely, and at the end, it feels so the Empire Strikes Back type vibe. Like, all right, we lost, but we're about to come back. Like that shit was dope. Like, great film. Just great cliffhanger.
Well, basically,
this guy's a dick though.
Hey, but he was great in his role. He was such a dick that he was great in his role.
Oscar Isaac is great.
Oh, he's
Apocalypse,
amazing.
Moon Knight, Miguel O'Hara.
Ever since, honestly, been a fan of his since Ex Machina. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Do we think they're going to bring more people on, I guess, Miles's team? Like, I mean, because they only showed a little bit. Do we think they're going to bring live action?
There's still more Spider-Man that could be introduced.
Yeah.
But do you think that they're going to be like, I mean, I kept thinking, I was like, could it be a possibility? I don't know how stupid it would be, but if they were to bring like the live action Spider-Man to help Miles, would that make sense?
It's a possibility.
It's out there. Just the fact that you've seen, how many live action characters did we see? We saw the cameos from the 2 Spider-Man films.
You saw those cameos.
We've seen Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Asian lady in Venom. So they're literally putting in your face like, all right, this next movie, you don't know who's gonna pop up.
Right.
So
So from what we know right now, Beyond the Spider-Verse is literally going to end this trilogy because they're basically saying that they're tired. Like they've been working on this shit for like the past almost 10 years. And going into we probably won't see Beyond the Spider-Verse for another 5 years.
Next year.
It might take that long.
Next year.
Oh, because they did all this together.
They did it all together.
So it's coming out.
Yeah, it was all done in one session.
Yeah, it's coming out next year.
Good.
I thought it was 2025. It was 2024.
No, it's
Yeah,
20,
maybe. I thought it was
May of
2024.
24.
Yeah, it's coming out next year.
But as much of the animation that they probably have to add, if they're going to add live action characters and everything like that, like this could prove this might be one of the best trilogies to happen in comic books. It could be right up there.
Ever.
Absolutely.
And we I know we didn't talk about that Miles variant that was the Prowler, but we got to talk about this cat because this motherfucker was gangster as fuck.
Well, the thing is, the setup was great
The
because
setup was amazing.
his uncle was like, "Hey, man, you took your hair out."
Yo,
But he was
my
like,
God,
he was
that's
like, "Oh,
right.
yeah." And the thing is, we didn't catch it initially. And he was
nobody
like,
His
"Oh,
mom made a comment
I'm
about his hair
still
too, though. His mom was like, "You did something different in your hair." I'm like, "What the fuck is she talking about?"
yeah." It was like, "Oh, you took your hair out." He was like,
But
"Oh,
when, he
yeah."
gave her, when the uncle gave her the money, I was like, oh, something's fishy.
Yo, the whole family's in on it.
Yeah,
That's what I like about this shit.
That was I know that was the best
dope
part. Like
because-
just the fact that
Smashing her too. Uncle Aaron smashing her too.
Yeah, Uncle Aaron
Yo,
is
he
the mom
definitely
now.
is. He was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's all good. We're family.
It's all out there now.
You know he smashed her. Without
Yeah,
a
he's
doubt.
definitely hitting that too.
This
But
my
like,
family
right?
now.
It's the setup for us to even realize he was in the wrong universe because
Mhm.
they were giving us clues throughout the movie with like
Yeah.
2 and stuff like that. Like they were giving us clues that he's not in the right universe, and we were so engulfed in the movie and stuff like that, we didn't catch on to you see Uncle Aaron. It's like because they made his pops be on his way home the same time he was like trying to say like, oh mom, if dad was here he would tell you like. They synced everything together and it made it seem like Gwen was just right outside. It made it seem like Gwen watched them go into the building.
Yeah.
Like it was so brilliantly done. Like this movie,
it was
like
so,
I said,
and it was so seamless
They
too.
got you.
Woo. This movie's
And they
good.
damn sure got us.
This movie is real good. Like
And the fact that they ended it right there.
yes,
They ended it right there. It was like he's staring him in the face.
yeah. He's like, I just want to go home. He's like, why would I do that? Like, yo, you gonna fuck with your own variant? Like, come on. He's like, he was like, so is your dad still alive? Yeah. I gotta get back so he can live. And he's like, that's not my dad. Like, yo, what the fuck?
That ain't my daddy.
Yeah, that motherfucker shit.
Yo, he was
Yeah,
so like
my
his
question-
accent was coming through harder too,
Yeah,
which
you
made
heard
it
the
like that much
accent?
better. I heard that
Yeah.
too. I was just like, oh, okay.
I was
Yeah, his
absolutely
Spanish
like
is
that.
good.
All of that.
His Spanish is real
He had
good.
to
all that
Spanish
shit.
if he didn't drop out already.
Word up. That was an
But
extra
here's my question though.
hard Puerto Rican Miles Morales.
Yes, but does that Miles, the Prowler Miles doesn't know anything about a multiverse. So you're really seeing some dude. You're seeing some dude who looked just like you for the first time and wondering what's going on. Like that's why I'm about to jack you up because you got my face. You know what I mean? You sound like me. Like this.
Yeah, and there
is
can't
not
be two
cool.
of me.
Like something's up. Right. So
And
you
it's
don't
not like
nothing
they
about
know
me.
that there's another Spider-Man because technically Spider-Man didn't exist there because Miles got that spider. So they don't know shit about.
And he doesn't know he was supposed to get bit by a spider or anything like that. So that's the whole thing right there too. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Prowler Miles from the Bronx.
Miles from the Bronx.
He's from the Bronx. He's from the Boogie Down Bronx.
And the other one's from Brooklyn.
You said 100% Fordham Road. That is
this makes for a great closing film in this trilogy because we have no idea where this shit is going. Yeah. We don't know who's gonna pop up. And like for the last like 15 minutes of that movie, we didn't get Spider Dick either from 2009. So
who played his role.
Played his fucking role to the perfect T. But we didn't get him for the last 15 minutes. So we kind of like most people kind of forgot about him because we're all wrapped up in this cliffhanger. So when the movie starts back up, this motherfucker still has his agenda.
Yeah.
So
That's where Spider Teams are basically starting from.
Yeah,
he basically was the one that stepped to him and be like, you ain't even supposed to have this power. The spider wasn't supposed to bite you.
Yeah, exactly. That shit was gangster. And another thing, he's running like his own version of like a Spider-Verse TVA. Like,
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
literally doing the same
He
thing
is the
that
TVA for Spider people.
He's literally doing because he's trying to keep cannons and protect timelines. And
I'm waiting for
making
Kang to
sure
show
this
up.
happens, and he doesn't want to get eliminated. Like, so that's another thing too. Like, we're getting a whole so through the multiverse because the shit is all connected. You have multiple time police teams trying to control storylines and whatnot. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, this shit is crazy. This
Do
shit
you
is
think
nuts.
we're gonna lose some Spider-Man?
Yes.
We have to because that
yeah,
would
we
be
got
great.
to.
Yeah.
We have to because that would be great. That would be great.
No, you
Spider
don't.
Ham's gonna
No,
get
you
shot.
Yeah,
Guardians
just like he showed.
Guardians
just
of
like
the
he showed in that
Galaxy showed
sequence.
you don't have to kill your heroes.
But
That's
Guardians
listen
of
to
the
the thing.
Galaxy showed you
That's
you
very-
don't have
Remember,
to kill
there's
your
always
heroes.
there's going to be a convergence, and I know the Flash tried to do something like this, but didn't really go all the way in. But you saw when Miguel was showing the illustration about how each universe is supposed to interact, and if they converge with each other, you can collapse all of those Spider-Verses together. So
Yeah.
I wonder if that you can't say something like that for no reason without possibly losing a Spider-Man and possibly using a multiverse because of a canon event.
Also,
something-
Miguel O'Hara
something-
has the ability to kill his victims. He actually can bite your ass and he can
Yeah.
claw your ass down.
He was
Yeah.
trying to do that. Like, he was about to
he was
bite this
thinking about
motherfucker's head off, and the helicopter flashed the lights on him. So
Right.
it was like we was about to see something gruesome. Like, this,
Well, I think he's gonna do whatever it takes. So
Yeah.
because his power
But
set.
y'all,
His whole
see again, you
is
worried about the
different
wrong
from all the
person.
Spider-Man anyway.
The spot. Y'all, Miguel got to worry about the spot. Even all this other stuff going on now. The
The
spot about to
spot's
shut
crazy.
it all down.
Yo,
Like,
but one thing
everybody
that
got to come together to stop the spot.
So maybe that's
because you brought, and you're the one that brought up the spot. Like, the spot, number one, like they were like you said, like they were making fun of him. Oh, he's the villain of the week. This, and that. He looked silly. He sounded silly. He looked silly.
I'm your
He literally, the way they did the film, they made it seem like he was just the beginning villain that was opening up the film for us.
Nope.
As it moved on, his power set
power.
got stronger to the point where, like James said, he could destroy the whole multiverse. Now he's one of the most powerful villains we have ever seen. Like, and we got that through a course of a film. He was a throwaway villain in the beginning of the movie. Like, oh, he's at the convenience store trying to rob an ATM. He's unimportant. How long is this going to take till we get into the film? But he proved to be the true villain of the film that set everything off. Now everybody's chasing him. So there's like multiple villains. You got the Spot, you got Spider-Man 2099.
Wait a minute.
And you got Gwen Stacy for doing some grimy shit to Miles, and not just lying and having another side piece and all kinds of shit. Like, so it's a lot going on. This film's gonna be great, man.
There was like a
I'm
multiversal.
glad we're getting it in a year because
There's like a multiversal Jorge on the screen for a second there. I don't know.
It was?
For real, yo.
What?
Yo, that was his twin, right? Yo, that's
It was
Jorge.
like-
Jorge's
twin right there.
The good twin.
The good twin.
But yeah, what's everybody's ranking though? Because I know I'm 100 out of 100. So
100 out of 100 here. That's what I said in my on my Instagram review. It's 100 out of 100. It's perfect.
Oh yeah. I don't see anything. Perfection.
Jorge.
It was a good watch. Shit, I had to research who the Spot was and see if he was a comic book character and all that shit.
He was real, dog. He was
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
He was
Jorge,
real.
did you like it? Did you like it?
That was good. I like the animation, first and foremost.
You don't seem convinced.
Yeah.
No, it just like literally. I think everything about this movie is just perfect. The depth of the story, the depth of the animation.
There you go,
the
Jorge.
Nice. The depth of the story, depth of the animation, characters. Every person is memorable, no matter whether they were on screen for the whole movie or on screen for a few frames. It didn't matter. If there was always something going on for every Spider-Man fan that's been in it since the beginning, or just wanted to see the animated movie because they like Miles or the video games.
Yeah,
I think that every person who went into this movie looking for something Spider-Man related to grab onto had it, and that's what makes the movie so much more powerful. Like, if you came for a great story, bam, you got something there. If you came for the animation, bam, you got there. If you came for your favorite cameo, they had that too. And I think for me, I'm curious to see where the story goes next too. Like, just like what we were talking
How
about.
do you
I
end
think that Yeah, I'm curious.
How do you end it?
Like like are we going to see more? Like how many more villains are we going to see? How many more Spider-Man are going to fight each other?
That's a
like
crazy
I think
thing.
that's the best part about it. Like who is the Spot going to recruit if he's able to get into his own kind of like pocket dimension? Like that'd be a big focal point of the story.
Thing? Yeah, if you think about it, if the Spot's like the biggest aspect of the next movie, like how many Spider-Man villains have actually been in the first two movies?
The first two?
The female Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, female Doc Ock, Prowler.
Prowler.
There was a Scorpion. There was
and a Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Tombstone, definitely a Tombstone.
Tombstone was in it.
Yep.
So like there's only at least 5, maybe 2 hands, maybe 8 to 10 Spider-Man villains.
Yeah.
None of his quintessential like Sinister Six type.
No, we have not gotten the Sinister Six.
No Green Goblin.
Oh no, we had. Matter of fact, they had a Green Goblin. He was in the beginning, and when they told when Peter Parker was giving his introduction, in the beginning of the film, there was also another version of the Green Goblin, because they used like the ultimate, like more of an ultimate Spider-Man type Green Goblin in the not just in the introduction, but also during the Collider fight. So we did get a Green Goblin. It's not the Green Goblin that people are used to, but it's a version of the Green Goblin. So we did get that also. And obviously
the biggest part it's been mostly him fighting more Spider-Man.
Yeah. So we got in the first film, we got that. Second film, it's him versus Spider-Man in the Spot. And fight his emotions with Gwen Stacy, because when she left his pop's party, that motherfucker was emotional. He put his hand over his head. His mom didn't know what to say. His dad bounced. He's like, all right, moms, you got this. Like they didn't even want to talk to him. That's how distraught he was when she left. So
because she was fucking his shit up. I'd have been pissed
too.
He
was.
Shit.
That
girl gotta go, yo. That girl
gotta go. He likes
bad news.
Yo, I want. Hold on. Do you think they're gonna how are they gonna end their relationship, or not end their relationship, but how do you think the relationship between them is going to pan out by the end of next year?
They can't coexist.
He's gonna be forced to get over Spider-Punk, and they're gonna live happily ever after.
Happily ever after where? Like if which universe are they gonna live happily ever after? Each other's the pocket dimension. Like how the hell do you do that?
He's just gonna get a new Apple Watch and stay at his residence.
Oh.
So they're just gonna flip back and forth and just be
they'll just use Apple Watch.
They'll just chirp each other. That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah. So this doesn't glitch.
Nah, she cool with her pops now. She's staying home.
Well,
over there. Either way, they're gonna be together, yo.
The one big thing about a lot of Spider-Men is they don't necessarily know their own strength or don't utilize 100% of their strength. So somebody's gonna die in the next one. It might be Gwen. Which would make Jer very happy.
Yeah, it's not gonna be Gwen. It's not gonna be Gwen.
I don't want to see nobody die, but I wouldn't be upset.
You wouldn't be mad. You wouldn't be mad. Gwen's
I
not
offer
dying.
you as tribute.
Gwen's not dying. They're gonna pay the whole. When they were sitting on the ledge,
she's getting her own movie. You know, she's getting her own movie, so she's not dying. She's getting her own movie, so she's gonna make it.
When they were sitting down, she was talking about how Gwen always falls for Spider-Man, and it doesn't end up well and shit like that. And he was there's a first time for everything. They're gonna pay that off. Like they're gonna pay that off. I don't care what the situation is. They're gonna pay that off. And I know Spider-Punk don't give a fuck. Like he already got that, so I'm sure he's not worried about it.
Well, another thing about this is the fact that if this is going to be the last animated Miles Morales Spider-Verse movie, I guess it's more than inevitable of him going to live action. I personally do not want to see him go to live action.
No, I wouldn't either. I think you're fine with it being the animated and the video. Like if you're like right now, you have the crossover between Peter and Miles in the video games.
Yes.
And then you have Miles Morales having his full-on character arc in these animated movies.
Yes.
I think trying to shoehorn him into the MCU or into the Sonyverse, no, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I think because he'll have his perfect character arc.
Let me ask y'all this. Go ahead. are we number one? Are we talking about this particular variant of Miles, or just Miles?
Just Miles.
I think Miles Morales in
Miles.
general. Like, because I think it's just, I'm curious to see, how do you have Miles Morales in the live action universe, whether it's I would say not even the Sony verse, because I don't know how they're going to translate that.
Yeah, the way Sony verse,
the MCU verse. Like, how do you introduce a Miles Morales on top of having Peter Parker already fully established, MJ fully? You have a character.
Didn't they make a comment about that on No Way Home?
Everything and anything is possible through the multiverse. So
now,
yeah, exactly. So all we've been getting these last like 2 years is multiverse films and timeline films. That's all we've been getting. Some are combined
to introduce more characters.
Yeah. So there's, to me, like, yeah, there's plenty of room for a live action Miles Morales, which in all actuality, I always thought, me personally, even before the Spider-Verse films, that a live action Miles Morales would be very appreciated, at least on my end, for the Sony films. Because why not? Because we already have an MCU main Spider-Man, right? So why not, through the Sony films, continue the stories? We could do all these classic stories and more original stories with another Spider-Man, but let that Spider-Man not be Peter Parker. Let it be Miles Morales.
Not with them corny ass villains.
It ain't like they gonna bump into each other.
Sony's making the films, so it's like, damn, but Sony's making the films.
Yeah, but now with them corny ass villains that they bringing out,
I know.
I really want to see Miles fight Kraven.
Not that Kraven.
But here's the deal. Miles,
no.
It's not like Miles is going to bump into Peter Parker in the same city. He's in Queens, Peter. Miles ain't going to be in Queens. So they're not going to bump each other. Like Spider-Man don't bump into Daredevil. We don't see him bump into the Avengers or anybody else who's in New York City. As small as New York City is, these heroes never bump into each other. Luke Cage ain't bumping into nobody. You hear about them.
Yeah.
You hear about their fights. So you could definitely have Miles in New York City. You know,
there's plenty of room.
I mean, fighting criminals. Absolutely, you could do it. And like I said, the stories will be so different than Peter's because Miles is so different than Peter.
I don't want them to ruin Miles.
That's the
problem. Is I think it's the fact that they might ruin Miles Morales. And we already have this sort of, I don't know.
So Cindy, let me ask you then. So what if, all right, forget Sony, get Sony like out of the picture, and we do just throw in the MCU where Kevin Feige and people can have some creative control over the character. Would you be comfortable with Miles Morales being the MCU though?
A cameo.
That ain't got nothing to do with it.
Honestly, no. That's what she said.
I think
is
a cameo would be enough.
A cameo. I'll take a cameo.
Like I would be like, oh shit, awesome. But I feel like
there goes Miles. Bye, Miles.
I feel like they will ruin the character. I think that the Across the Spiderverse and Into the Spider-Verse it's so unique in its own way of telling a story that I feel like they can bring it out.
Fuck with a good thing.
Exactly. They might fuck it up.
And I know that. Here's how I know they're gonna fuck it up. Because I
think
hold on. No, hold on. Go with me on this. With it, and not even just in an animated movie. I think using animation to tell a unique story about a mixed kid in New York City trying to kind of figure out his own life and figure out what things matter for him, especially now when you consider a lot of different characters that are around him. The MCU can't tell a story like that because there has to be a bigger, grandiose, heuristic plot point that a Miles Morales doesn't need onto him. Peter Parker can have that because we've already seen that in the comic books. We've seen it in all the different types of media. Peter Parker can have that. Not Miles Morales. Miles Morales has such a unique story and such unique flavor about his character that trying to put him in a universe or put him in a system. The MCU is a system, as we already seen with all the different types of movies that they have. The Sonyverse in its own decent before and bad now way is its own system. Miles Morales as a character, as we know him, as we've seen him in the animated movies, as we've seen him in the video games or any comic book portrayals, that type of character doesn't fit in either system. So that type of character can't be put out in live action because of how it's established. So using
Deadpool.
No, but hold on. But to finish my point, wait, I got one more thing to add about that. I think that That's how I feel about that Deadpool claim. But here's the last point that I'm going to make about this. The animation, the fact that we're in this like hip hop style influence that the Spider-Verse has created and the video games have created. Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS5 did the same kind of thing where you kind of have the artistic style, the graffiti art, all of that inspiration.
Miles fade.
Exactly. All of that stuff was amazing in that specific niche, in an animated niche, whether you think video games are animation to me, of course, and then the animation of the Spider-Verse movies. Live action MCU, live action Sonyverse can't touch that the way they are right now. So do not put them in live action.
Listen to this man.
So Ed, if
Deadpool,
you think
Wakanda
you think it's
forever.
impossible, or
You never saw anything like Wakanda until you saw Wakanda.
They're two different
you
styles.
Ain't seen nothing like Wakanda until you finally saw.
No, hold on.
Exactly. It's
no,
different.
I get that. It
Wakanda's
is
so
different
from everything else they was doing. And now it fits. You know why? Because you can fit all this stuff in here. What's wrong with my nerves? Y'all been on here too long, man. Y'all need to go to sleep.
I think you can fit it in because I think what the animated movies did was introduce us to Miles. We got the origin story, like a basic origin story. Like people that don't know Miles Morales got a basic origin story about him, right? So if you throw him in the MCU, whether it's a variant or him, whatever. If you throw him in the MCU, we don't have to, just like they did with Peter Parker, we don't have to go through the whole origin story. We know how Miles got here. We know the basics. So he could just be plugged in because of the multiverse. Like he doesn't even have to be part of what they call the 616 universe in the MCU. He doesn't have to be a part of that. He could be a part of another universe, and he'll probably pop up in Secret Wars. So I would say be prepared for him because the motherfuckers are going to want to see him. He's probably going to be there. I'm just saying.
Prepare for a cameo.
Hey, that sounds like a cameo to me.
That does sound like
it might, but if what's his name, Tom Holland, if he doesn't want to, after a few more movies, he doesn't want to play Spider-Man.
Get another Peter Parker.
They may not. They may go Miles Morales. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I think.
So how do you get Miles Morales?
Me and Jerv think it could work. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying me and Jerv think it could work. More than just a cameo.
I understand Kevin Feige and the whole entire MCU Marvel Studios team has made a lot of things work. I'm just holding out. I'm holding my breath, and I'm not hopeful right now because of how perfect Miles Morales is. Exactly. This universe.
We're giving this a 10 out of 10
to make it. It's too perfect to try to translate it into live action.
It's popular. Animation. So it's animation.
It's not just animation. It's relatability. Think of the street kids who just love graffiti art, sketchbooks, all that kind of stuff. They have a character that can play into that. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical for now. Prove me wrong, and I'll switch over. But otherwise, I don't feel right yet.
You're gonna get.
Y'all treating Marvel like DC right now. Like y'all got.
Whoa!
Listen, both of y'all.
I don't want to see Miles. It's just fuck him up.
I'm disappointed in y'all. Y'all treating this like a DC project. Stop it. Stop it. Don't let that last movie that you just saw ruin this shit.
Miles
Don't let that last movie ruin this.
Extremely popular.
I'm not.
I'm just saying.
Come on.
Look, see, that goes to show the DC animated universe ruined my perspective of what the DCEU should look like.
Good point.
True. I agree with that too.
Me seeing Miles in the Spider-Verse is going to ruin my perspective of seeing him in live action.
This ain't DC.
I mean, same with how the Flash TV show ruined everything for me for the Flash movie.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. But
that's an argument for another show.
That's an argument for another day.
That's another.
That's how my main man Darnell had to step into the void. The spot got that seems like our time. So for Cindy, Jerv, Haas, Ed, our evil producer Jorge, myself, Fax, we will see you soon. Party nerds, we are out.
We out, baby.
We out.
PartyNerdz.